Hey, what's going on? My name is Mick, and I'm posting my day trading journey right here on YouTube with complete honesty and transparency. And today I didn't take any trades, but I want to go over a couple of things that I've been learning after my pretty significant loss yesterday. I lost 1,800 bucks yesterday. I decided today that I was going to spend a majority of my time evaluating ICT setups and kind of how those would have played out today had I taken any trades, and kind of moving forward how my education looks for ICT, what kind of things I'm going to start implementing in my own trades, and psychology-wise, how I got here. So I wanted to start off really just, I guess, zooming out on and kind of getting like a bigger picture. A couple of things that I had done is I've kind of put these buy-side liquidity and the sell-side liquidity, basically the areas that I'm expecting the price to move in any direction. If you're familiar with ICT, liquidity seems to be the cornerstone of these kind of concepts. So I kind of laid out a couple of areas where I thought people might be putting kind of larger stops for people doing kind of larger supply and demand moves where I'm expecting price to gravitate towards. And one of the significant ones that I was playing with today, and I'm on the 15-minute time frame right now, so this is Tuesday, this highlighted range, this is Wednesday, and this was today. And so one of the significant ones I was keeping an eye on today was 4166, which was, sorry, let me zoom in, which is right here. We had a couple of rejections off of this area, and we also had a rejection in the pre-market around 9 o'clock this morning. And again, anybody who's trading futures that early in the morning, or what I was expecting is that there's going to be a lot of sellers keeping their buy stops just above this area right here. So it seems to me like this would, in my original interpretation of this morning, was that there was probably going to be a lot of buy stops there. So I was keeping an eye on that. I had that level of liquidity, and I really didn't trade immediately on the open. I kind of took a slow morning. I wasn't too stressed out since we were kind of opening up and kind of selling off, so I wasn't focusing too hard. But what I did look at, however, is as we approached, as we approached this level here, it looked to me like this was a pretty intense, I guess what we can call liquidity grab. And this is what I was expecting during the trades today. And I want to go back to the 15-minute actually. If you look at the 15-minute, there's a huge wick here. And this is what it kind of sold it for me, right? So the buy-side liquidity line's right here. And this large wick is what, on the 15-minute time frame, that really made me think that this was a liquidity grab because of the immediate selling pressure right after the liquidity grab. And so what I'm looking at as we zoom back in on the 1 minute, so here's the liquidity grab right here. Couple of things that I was keeping an eye on. What I have been reading and what I've been researching is that usually there's some sort of liquidity grab. There is a kind of a short-term low, which I was looking at as this short-term low right here. And there's a small green candle which shows it kind of working its way back up, and then kind of a break below that. Now, probably most people wouldn't consider that a short-term low. I did in this case, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading this incorrectly, but I considered this a short-term low. And then a break below it, which, I don't think that's a formal market structure shift. I had the formal market structure shift down here. But this to me, I don't know, just kind of felt like it was lining up for exactly kind of the short-term low and then the break below it. And then we look like we had this breaker block here and kind of a retest, the price rising back up into the fair value gap. I misread this earlier. I had this dark, thin fair value gap right here on the way down, but what I missed was the larger fair value gap on the buy side right here. And in hindsight, had I actually been trading this and not just, because I was at this point, I'm marking my charts. I'm not looking, I'm just trying to, I didn't want to trade today. I just, I'm still kind of spooked from yesterday, but just focusing on the ICT setups, where I'm headed, the things that I'm looking to be trading in. Trading, this seems like the 2022 ICT mentorship trade setup right here. Now, again, this short-term low, right? That doesn't seem crazy. That it doesn't seem like there's a formal market structure shift. So maybe it's not a perfect trade, but at the end of the day, here's a fair value gap, right? You had a pretty sharp downturn after what seems to be a liquidity grab, sharp downturn, and then a upturn back into that fair value gap, and then a very heavy drop afterwards. So what I'm looking at here is, regardless of whether or not there's a formal market structure shift, this fair value gap was respected. And that's what I'm looking at right here. Had this been, had I been trading today, had I been looking at this, this would have been a pretty decent entry point. You could have gotten short really as soon as it touched this. And you probably could have put your stop loss maybe at the top of the fair value gap or the top of this candle right here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. You could have gotten short here, or another opportunity was kind of this shorter attempt to come back up and get short here. This, to me, yes, you didn't have the confirmation of the formal market structure shift, which I have here. But I don't know. It ended up working out, and maybe that's not always the case, but it definitely is an additional confluence in that case. And what we had was a couple of fair value gaps getting made on the way down. And at this point, after it actually had broken and it had a formal market structure shift, what I was looking at was kind of a re-entry into one of these two fair value gaps. One of the reasons I was kind of keeping an eye on it, I did my Fibonacci retracements from here to the bottom here. And this bottom fair value gap, like let's say we were to play back into that level, I wasn't sure if I was going to be taking this one or this one tucked in the fair value gap breaker. This one is at a higher price, and if I'm looking for a short entry, that would probably be better to try to find a higher price to short at than it would this one right here. And this one is also in a breaker, so that also would have been a little bit better confluence, and it is a little bit closer to the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement here, which I guess pretty much would have been that kind of golden ratio. So had that worked out, that would have been fantastic. I still, regardless, I know it didn't have as much confluence with everything else, but this entry here and even this one here still seemed like the highest quality one in my opinion, and maybe that's the kind of trading that I'm starting to develop, but who knows just yet. And then later that day, it seems like the fair value gaps continue to get respected. Again, the larger pink box here is the larger fair value gap that was created on this candle, and then the darker one is from this down candle here. And again, we had entry, small rejection, and then at the end of the day, we had another rejection. So that would make the third formal rejection of this double fair value gap, which I guess in my opinion would make that a stronger fair value gap if you have two overlapping. So here's one rejection off of this fair value. You can count that as two, third one, and then the fourth one here. This would have been probably another optimal trade entry. I mean, again, seeing one rejection, two rejections, three rejections, and then the fourth rejection. So that's kind of what I was looking at today. Just overall, again, the morning, I didn't do much in the morning. Yeah, you probably could have found some other trades, but to me, it looked like we were ranging in the morning, basically from 41.60 right here to basically 41.40. So we were kind of ranging in a 20-point range right here. I didn't mess with that at all this morning. But things started to get a little interesting around, around 2 o'clock, when it seemed like there was liquidity grab, a couple of fair value gaps that were made, and then we had some interesting movements through here. So let me know your thoughts on these fair value gaps, that liquidity grab. Let me know if, what kind of confluence I should be looking at and what your thoughts are in general on ICT. But otherwise, this is kind of my ICT setup evaluation today, and I guess backtesting and how things would have worked had I taken trades. So let me know your thoughts, and that's all I got for you today. Peace.